Hi guys, it's Beth here again. Today I'm going to show you how to draw this lovely colourful flamingo. We're going to use a pencil and some felt tips, ideally a pink, an orange and a purple if you have one. And we'll also need a paintbrush and a little bit of water. So if you've got everything ready, we will make a start. Right, so we're going to start by just sketching out the beak. We're doing a close-up of the flamingo today so we can get most of his body in. And I'm doing sort of like a U shape, quite wide, and it goes up, and as it goes up we're going to just move to the left a little bit, so we're sort of bending our line round, and I'm just taking that line over to the left, so we've got a nice sort of bend, a bit like a boomerang. So there we go, so we've got that. This is the beak, so we can now start drawing in the top of his face. So we get a little line, it comes up, and if you just do little sketchy lines to start with and press really lightly, just in case you make a mistake, and then it's much easier to rub out. So we're going to go straight over the top, we're curving it round, and we're going to make like a nice sort of S shape. So over, and then we're going to bring this down. I'm going to do the other side at the same time so we can see that it works okay. So again, we're sort of mirroring this curve and curving it round. And then we're on his neck now. So we're getting a little bit narrower. So this little section is going to be a bit narrower as we come down. And then I want to do the front of him. So he's quite sort of curved. So I'm going to take this line, and it's touching. In fact, it goes behind his beak a little bit. Can you see? So I sort of lift my pencil off when I hit my beak and then put it back on. And then we're going to give him a nice curve, and it's going to curve out and then bring it back in all the way off the edge of the page. So we're taking right off the edge of the page, and then with this line we're going to bring it down. So we've got this nice S shape. I'm going to bring this line out, so we're going to make this section now a little bit wider, starting to make it wider, and then curve it round. So it's slightly wider here, and then we're going to curve it back up. We're not going to quite touch the back of his neck, so we want to leave a little gap here. So we're going to bring this line back up, and then when we get almost level with the beak, I would say, we'll start to curve it back, round, and off the edge of the page. So we've got our lovely curve, our nice flamingo curve. Okay, so we're not going to do a huge amount of drawing with our pencil. We're going to do a lot with our felt tips today, but I am just going to map the beak in. So just after that bend, we're just going to pop a little line that is our beak, like this, just across. I'm curving it slightly, trying to emphasize that curve of the beak, and then his eye about halfway along that line, quite a small little round eye, like this. Okay, we can put a smaller circle in the middle if you want to. All right, so, and the last little bit of drawing is he's got lovely black markings on his beak. So all we're going to do is we're going to do a little curved line that goes up quite far up his beak, and then bringing it back down, and then again quite close to the edge on the other side, like that. Okay, so I think we'll leave the pencil drawing there, and we will move to our felt tips. So I'm choosing a nice bright pink colour. We're going to use different shades, but we'll start off with our pink first of all, and we're just going to draw our feathers in. We're going to keep it quite simple, and we're just going to do sort of almost like little ends. Okay, so just keeping it quite simple all the way to the edge, and making them, they're quite small, because as we come down our flamingo, we'll make them a bit bigger. So like little ends, or as we come, or like little V's on the sides. Okay, so layering them and following that curve. So as we come round, and my V's are sort of turning round, so they're coming down the neck. My little U's now, so they're not ends anymore, they're more like little U shapes, because we've changed direction and we're following the direction of the neck. So it's curving round like this. So as I'm coming down here, they're going to start getting a bit bigger. I'm not doing them really super neat. You can do, if you want to be neat, you can make him really neat. I'm keeping it quite loose. Okay, so you can see, just ignore, I've got my little doggy in the corner. So if you hear any funny noises, that's just him, so just ignore them. So what I'm going to do now, we've got to the body, this big section here, I'm going to make them much bigger, and also going to give them a little bit more of a sort of feathery shape. So I'm giving them quite pointy edges now, and just making it a little bit more stylized. So ignore that, my doggy, I don't know what he's growling at. Maybe he doesn't like the flamingo. Right, okay, so there we go. So you can see we've started off really small, followed the curve, and then swooped it round, and then some nice big feathers here. So the next thing is just a little bit of shading. I'm doing this quite quickly, so I'm going to keep it quite scribbly. You can do it a bit neater if you want to. So I'm just basically a little bit of shading in my feathers. I'm not doing all of them. I'm just picking a few out. So just picking a few out. Abel, thank you. Very naughty. So here we go. So just doing a few little shaded feathers. All it is, it's almost like just a few little lines, little scribbles. And we're just getting our pink first. We're going to introduce a few other colours in a minute, but I'm just dotting my pink around. So on the ends of the feathers like this. Okay. Now I'm going to go to an orange. I'm going to get an orange next. Now the top of the heads of the flamingo would be lighter. So if we were shading it with pencil, we'd make this bit lighter. But what I'm using is an orange, just to show that this is a bit lighter on the top and down. So again, just little scribbly lines really. So and down just the edge of his head here, and then I'm going to do the same at the front here. So we want these little feathers, a little bit of orange. Don't have to do all of them, just pick them out. So a few little orange ones here, and then I'm going to put a bit of orange in his tail. So little dashy lines in these feathers, following the shape of the feathers. So little dashy lines like this. Okay, so I've done my light colour, and I'm going to do a darker colour now. So I'm going to pick a purple. I think they're all look lovely together. So where it would be darker on our flamingo, I'm going to add a little bit of purple. So this area here, just down the front of his neck, this curve, we've got a few little bits of purple. So just bring that down. And then this curve here would be a little bit darker as well. So we're going to just add a little bit of purple here. So just some few little purple lines. And then I'm just going to emphasize the shape of these feathers by adding a little bit of purple on the tip of some of these feathers, just to make them look a bit more colourful, a bit brighter, just really bring them out. You can see they're standing out a little bit more once we've added our darker colour on. So just dot a few around here as well. What I might do is just a tiny little bit of outlining as well, just a little broken line, so not a continuous line, just a little broken line, because I'm going to put a little bit of purple there, and I'm going to just get my pink back and just a little bit of pink on the front. So here we go. So just a little bit of outlining, just bring that shape in. And then I think we'll leave that. What we'll do, we're going to add some water on in a minute, so you'll see how that works. But before we do that, we're just going to do his beak and his eye. So I'm using a felt tip pen. I'm going to get a black. We want this really nice and black. So you could use paints if you wanted to, if you've got paints. I'm keeping it simple today and just sticking to my felt tip pens. So here we go. We're just going to do this section here that we drew in. We're going to keep this black, but I do want to leave a little white highlight. So I'm going to just draw that in. So it's just my little white highlights that goes down the front of the beak like that. Okay. And then I'm going to colour the rest of it in. So nice and careful colouring. There we go. Okay, and then I think before I put the black in the eye, I'm going to put a little bit of yellow. If you've got a yellow pen, that would be brilliant. Just going to colour his eye in yellow, all yellow, and then get back to my black, and just that little middle section. I'm going to put a bit of black. I'm going to leave a tiny white highlight if you're able to do that, and then we're just going to use our black just to a little broken line just around, just to give it a little bit of an outline, and we'll just go across like that. Okay, so I think that's probably all the felt tip pens that we need. We've done all our colouring, so now I'm going to get a bit of water. And if your felt tip pens, hopefully your felt tip pens are water soluble, so that means that when we add our water, they bleed a little bit, so they sort of get all smudgy, and this will then enable us to just colour our flamingo. So we've still got the pinks and the purples, but it's just smudging them out a little bit and blending them into each other, and just a really lovely technique to use. You don't need loads of water because you don't want your paper to go all bobbly, but just keep dipping it in, little bits of water at a time, and smudging those colours together. So working over the whole of the flamingo. So you can do this quite quickly. You don't need to be super careful because the pinks and the purples and the oranges, they blend really nicely together and they look really lovely and colourful. So I'm just doing this super quickly for you guys. You can take your time and do this at your own pace, obviously. So nearly done all his feathers. Very careful around his eye because of that black. I don't want to smudge the black, so don't get any water on that black because otherwise it will go all smudgy. And whilst I've got a little bit of this pink on my brush, I'm going to just add teeny bits, not too much, but just a tiny tint onto the white of my beak, just so it's not that white back, just a little bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to just a little bit more water, not too much on the black. I'm just going to smudge that black in a little bit on that highlight, and just check it all over. Make sure I've got all the little white areas. We don't really want to see any white left. And then we're nearly there. The last little bit is the fun bit, which I love. What you can do is I'm going to use some watercolors just because it's quicker. But what you can do is with your water, just pick up a little bit of paints from your felt tips and add a little bit of water onto your brush, and then we're going to do our lovely splats. So just with a bit of pink, I'm going to do some lovely pink splats, and I think I'm going to do some purple splats, just a few. Be super careful if you're working next to your computer. Obviously you don't want to splat your screen. And then I think the last ones will be a few little orange ones, and then it picks out and complements all the colours that we've used for our flamingo. And there you have it. One beautiful, colourful flamingo. So I hope you enjoyed that. I think Abel did. We've got lots more coming up, so make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you again soon. Bye for now.